Don't force boys to be masculine, a journey of raising children with love and understanding. Hello everyone. Today I'd like to share with you a topic that I believe every parent, especially those with sons, will find relatable and important. It's about how we raise our boys so they can grow up healthy and natural, free from being forced into outdated molds of masculinity. I recently came across some deeply insightful thoughts from Dr. Michael C. Reichert, the author of How to Raise a Boy, and I want to share them with you in my own words, with my own emotions and reflections. This isn't just knowledge, it's something that truly touches the heart. In this post, I'll cover a few key points to give you a clear picture. First, connecting with our children is the foundation for them to grow up safe and strong. Then, I'll talk about how we nurture them through different stages, what to do and what to avoid. I'll also touch on understanding the pressures boys face, helping them connect with themselves, encouraging them to express emotions, setting boundaries wisely, and finally, fostering their independence. It might sound like a lot, but it all boils down to one thing: letting our boys be themselves, unshackled by old stereotypes. Alright, let's dive in. Understanding boys' pressures. Listening with love. Friends, have you ever stopped to think that even our little boys might be facing pressures we don't always notice? I once saw my son, just a few years old, come home upset because his friends teased him for crying, saying, "Boys don't cry." It broke my heart. Society can be so harsh on boys sometimes, not letting them show their true feelings, pushing them to be tough, competitive, and manly in a predefined way. Even when they play with girls, they might get teased or judged. That's when I realized that as parents, we need to be their safe haven. One time, when my son was stressed from being teased by friends, I sat him down, gently asked what happened, and shared a story about how I faced similar pressures as a kid. His little eyes lit up, as if to say, "Oh, so mom and dad went through this too." Moments like that made him so much more at ease, no longer afraid to open up. I think the key is being ready to step in when they need us, helping them see that these pressures are normal and nothing to be ashamed of. Above all, I want my son to know I'm always here, his ally, trusting him and cherishing every small effort he makes. Raising boys. Love instead of force. Helping them connect with themselves, building a strong foundation. Friends, with all the pressure they face from such a young age, if our boys don't understand who they are or value themselves, how can they push back against the negative standards out there? I've realized that my relationship with my son is the bedrock of his strength. Once, I tried something simple, when he did something good, like helping his sibling tidy up toys. I didn't just say, "Good job." I got specific. "Mommy saw how patient you were picking up each toy with your sibling. I'm so proud of how caring you are." He grinned from ear to ear. I could tell he loved it. This kind of positive feedback not only brings us closer but also teaches him to see himself in a good light. Instead of criticizing or pointing out flaws, I've learned to be patient, find common ground, like our shared love for superhero movies, and support him in ways that fit his needs. I don't want him to depend on me forever, but I'll always be there, caring deeply, so he knows he's never alone. Encouraging emotional expression. Opening up to connect. When it comes to emotions, I think this is the hardest yet most meaningful part. My son can be stubborn sometimes. When he's upset, he clams up or snaps at everything. At first, it frustrated me, but then I realized that if I don't listen or show I care, how can he feel safe opening up? One day, I tried sitting with him and said, "Mommy noticed you seem a little sad today. Want to tell me about it?" He was quiet for a bit, then slowly shared that a friend had misunderstood him at school. I've learned that listening isn't easy, especially on days when I'm tired or stressed. But if I snap or brush him off, I miss the chance to understand him. I try to keep my tone warm, show genuine interest, and, most importantly, not rush to give advice. Once, I slipped and said, "You should do this or that," and he just shut down. I realized he needs the freedom to speak his mind without feeling judged or lectured. When he feels safe to express himself, he's not just more open with me, he's more confident with his friends too. Isn't that wonderful? Setting boundaries, guiding with love and firmness. Have you noticed how boys sometimes love testing limits? The kids in our neighborhood often hang out, tease each other, and even pressure others to prove themselves. I think it's their way of letting off steam. But without clear boundaries, it can go too far. One day, my son came home and told me his group of friends had bullied a girl. Instead of scolding him right away, I asked, "Do you think she felt sad? How would you feel if someone treated you like that?" He thought about it and quietly said, "No, I wouldn't like it. I've learned that setting boundaries isn't about forbidding things. It's about teaching him to act in line with the values we want to pass down." My husband and I try to stay consistent, which isn't always easy, but when I'm firm yet warm, he sees that I'm not just punishing him, I'm helping him grow. He needs to feel respected, not controlled, so our connection stays strong. Fostering independence, supporting them to stand on their own. Lastly, I want to talk about independence. We all want our kids to grow up strong and self-reliant. But I've realized that cultural ideas of independence aren't always enough. True autonomy, confidence, creativity, and good judgment is what they need. Once, when my son broke a toy, I almost fixed it for him but stopped myself and asked, "Want to try fixing it? I'll sit here with you." He fumbled for a while but eventually succeeded. Beaming with pride, I could see how proud he was of himself. It's tough, though. How do you support them without stepping in too much? I've had to reflect on my own childhood, how I learned autonomy, and how that shapes the way I parent. I want him to know that even if he stumbles or feels ashamed, I'm here, not to judge, but to trust him and give him space to grow. Here's the continuation of the translation. Grow. This kind of independence, in the end, brings us closer because he knows I'm always honest with him and respect him. Friends, raising boys isn't about forcing them into society's mold of masculinity. I believe that when we understand, connect, and walk alongside them, they'll grow into strong individuals in their own unique way. I hope these thoughts lighten your load on this parenting journey. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all happiness with your little angels.